The December wind cut through the city streets like a blade, carrying snow that had turned from picturesque to punishing in the span of an hour. Gabriel Sterling pulled his black overcoat tighter as he walked through the park, his mind still churning through the board meeting that had run 2 hours over schedule. At 38, he'd built Sterling Technologies from a startup into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, but success had come with a price. His ex-wife had taken their daughter Emma to California 3 years ago, and he saw her only during holidays and summer breaks. His penthouse apartment was immaculate and empty. His life was full of achievements and devoid of warmth. He was taking this shortcut through Henderson Park because his driver had called in sick, and Gabriel had decided to walk the 15 blocks, home rather than wait for a car service. The Christmas lights strung through the bare trees should have been cheerful, but they only emphasized how alone he felt, how the holiday season had become just another stretch of time to endure. That's when he heard the voice. "Excuse me, sir?" Gabriel turned to find a little boy standing near a snow-covered bench, maybe 7 or 8 years old. He wore a tan jacket that was too thin for the weather, a red sweater underneath, and jeans that were worn at the knees. His brown hair was damp with melting snow, his cheeks red from cold. But it was his eyes that caught Gabriel's attention, wide, frightened, but trying so hard to be brave. "Yes," Gabriel approached carefully, looking around for a parent. "Sir, my baby sister is freezing." The boy's voice cracked slightly. "I don't know what to do." That's when Gabriel noticed the bundle the child was holding. A baby, wrapped in what looked like a thin blanket, crying weakly. The infant couldn't have been more than a few months old. Her small face red and scrunched, her cries growing weaker, which Gabriel knew instinctively was a bad sign. "Where are your parents?" Gabriel asked, already pulling off his coat. "Mom left us here," the boy said, his brave facade crumbling. "She said she'd be right back, but that was a long time ago, before it got dark. I tried to keep Sarah warm, but she won't stop crying. And now she's getting quiet. And I remember Mom saying that's bad. When babies get too quiet." "You're right, that is bad." Gabriel wrapped his coat around both children, the expensive cashmere engulfing them. "What's your name?" "Timothy. Everyone calls me Tim." "Okay, Tim, I'm Gabriel. We need to get you and Sarah somewhere warm right now. Will you come with me?" Tim hesitated, and Gabriel could see the conflict in his young face. Don't talk to strangers, he'd probably been told. But his baby sister was in danger, and this stranger was offering help. "I promise I'm safe," Gabriel said gently. "I have a daughter myself, and if she were in trouble, I'd want someone to help her. Let me help you." Tim nodded, tears finally spilling over. "Okay." Gabriel scooped the baby into his arms, keeping his coat wrapped around both children. Sarah was frighteningly cold to the touch, her crying reduced to weak whimpers. Gabriel's heart pounded as he calculated distances. The nearest hospital was 10 blocks. His apartment was 6. He made a decision. "We're going to my home first to warm you both up. Then I'm calling for medical help. Is that all right, Tim?" "Yes, sir." They moved quickly through the snowy streets, Gabriel's expensive shoes slipping on ice, his suit jacket inadequate against the cold, but he barely noticed. Tim walked beside him, one hand clutching Gabriel's sleeve, the other wiping at his tears. "How long were you out there?" Gabriel asked as they walked. "I don't know." "A long time. Mom said she needed to run an errand, that she'd be back in 10 minutes. But then it started snowing harder and it got dark and she didn't come back." Tim's voice was small. "Did she forget about us?" "I don't know," Gabriel said honestly, his mind already racing with implications. What kind of mother left a baby and young child on a park bench in December? Even if she'd meant to return quickly, even if some emergency had delayed her, where was she now? "But right now we're going to focus on getting you both safe and warm." Gabriel's building doorman, Marcus, did a double-take as they entered the lobby. "Mr. Sterling? Is everything all right?" "Call Dr. Richardson. Tell him it's an emergency. I need him at my apartment immediately." "Then call the police non-emergency line and tell them I've found 2 children who were abandoned in Henderson Park." "Right away, sir." In the elevator, Gabriel looked down at the baby in his arms. Sarah had stopped crying altogether, her tiny body limp. His heart clenched with fear. He'd taken a pediatric first aid course years ago when Emma was born, but that felt like another lifetime. His apartment was warm, thank God. Gabriel went straight to the living room, laying Sarah gently on the couch while keeping her wrapped in his coat. Tim hovered anxiously nearby. "Tim, I need you to help me." "Can you do that?" "Yes, sir. I need you to go into that room over there. That's my bedroom. And grab all the blankets you can find. We need to warm Sarah up slowly." While Tim ran to get blankets, Gabriel carefully unwrapped the baby. Her lips had a bluish tinge, her breathing shallow. He rubbed her tiny hands gently, trying to stimulate circulation, talking to her softly. "Come on, little one. Stay with me. You're safe now. You're going to be okay." Tim returned with an armful of blankets, and together they created a warm nest for Sarah. Gabriel turned up the thermostat, put a kettle on for hot water bottles, and pulled out his phone to time the baby's breathing and heart rate as best he could. The doorbell rang 15 minutes later. Dr. Richardson, Gabriel's personal physician, arrived with his medical bag, followed shortly by 2 police officers. While Dr. Richardson examined the baby, Gabriel sat with Tim in the kitchen, wrapping the boy's hands around a mug of hot chocolate. "You did everything right," Gabriel told him gently. "You kept your sister as warm as you could, and you asked for help. That was very brave. Is Sarah going to be okay?" "The doctor is checking her now. She's in good hands." One of the police officers, a woman named Detective Chen, pulled up a chair. "Tim, can you tell me what happened today?" Starting from the beginning, Tim's story came out in halting pieces. Their mother, Diane, was a single parent, struggling with addiction. She'd been clean for 6 months, trying hard. But recently things had gotten bad again. That afternoon, she'd told Tim they were going to the park. But once there, she'd left them on the bench, saying she'd be right back. She'd taken her purse, her phone, everything. Tim had waited, keeping Sarah warm as best he could, but hours passed. He'd been afraid to leave the bench because Mom had said to wait there. But when Sarah started crying from the cold, when she wouldn't stop, he'd known he needed to find help. "You did the right thing," Detective Chen assured him. "Do you have any other family? Grandparents, aunts, uncles?" Tim shook his head. "Just Mom and Grandma, but she lives far away. I don't remember where." Dr. Richardson emerged from the living room. "The baby is suffering from hypothermia, but it's moderate rather than severe. I've stabilized her temperature and she's responding well. She needs to be monitored at a hospital overnight, but I believe she'll make a full recovery. It's fortunate you found them when you did." Mr. Sterling, another hour out in that cold, with those inadequate clothes. He didn't need to finish the sentence. "And Tim?" Gabriel asked, his hand unconsciously resting on the boy's shoulder. "Cold and exhausted, some mild frostbite on his fingers, but he'll be fine with rest